Good morning and welcome to Blain's Morning Porridge. It's October 17th, 2025. This morning, the Hamble Quarry decision highlights corporate greed and planning failure. It seems to be that every day here in the UK we're reminded of multiple injustices. The fight of postmasters against the post office, or haemophiliacs against the medical indifference that killed so many of them. These are just the tip of an iceberg, of a justice system that seems loaded against we the people. It's only when it impacts you personally do you realise just how lopsided that social injustice has become, and much of it is due to the failures of the UK's planning system. There doesn't seem to be any social justice anymore, just the jackboot of corporate greed being crushed into the face of humanity forever. Yesterday was a very bad day. My village was going to be sacrificed to make some foreign investors rich. So much for a restful retirement. Now, I've written many times about the insanity of the Hamble Quarry in my morning porridge commentary. It means digging a dirty great hole right in the middle of our prosperous village and putting a quarry to get out gravel which nobody particularly needs at this time, and building it right next to homes, shops, schools and businesses. It was approved yesterday by the planning inspectorate, which overturned an earlier refusal by the local authority. It's a slap in the face for over 20,000 citizens who live in the area. They're going to see their home values impacted and their futures blighted. Already we're seeing that young families are leaving the area because they just don't want to see their kids trying to learn just meters away from a working quarry. The local economy is going to be decimated, and the environment, which includes some pristine rivers and some of the best sailing country in the UK, completely compromised. Cemex, which is a foreign-owned Mexican firm specialising in cement and waste management, has been given permission to quarry 1.7 million tonnes of gravel and sand from the very heart of the pretty seaside village of Hamble Quarry. Every single home in the village is within 500 metres of the proposed site. The 3 schools in the village are all in touching distance. Many homes will be blighted by massive berms putting up a shield against the quarry work. A school kid asked the planning inspector at the appeal, "You would not build a school next to a quarry, so why dig a quarry next to a school?" He never answered that question. The UK's planning system has demonstrated its utter stupidity after the Hamble Quarry project was approved by the planning inspectorate. It will allow Cemex to extract that sand and gravel and damage the local village. On a purely economic basis, the decision makes absolutely zero sense. Local businesses provided evidence that the additional road traffic that it will generate and the dust that the quarrying will throw up is going to impact their business negatively. Now, there is a 200 million sterling per annum local marine industry, supported by an even larger local hospitality industry, and all these are going to be crushed by digging a massive hole in the centre of the village. The largest local business, which is one of Europe's largest contact lens factories, employs over 2,000 people, and it said it will have to consider closing because of the dust hitting its clean manufacturing process. Yet the quarry was approved by the planning inspectorate without considering any of these economic issues. It's been approved because of obsolete government legislation that says local authorities should have 7 years of strategic materials, including sand and gravel, to hand. The cost of bringing these materials from elsewhere is going to be far less than the economic damage that the quarry inflicts. Yet that economic aspect was not even considered in the appeal. At the heart of this truly profoundly stupid decision is the injustice between the way that locals the stakeholders in their village and community have been subordinated completely to corporate profit. This is going to benefit Cemex, the quarry firm, and Persimmon Homes, which owns the land on which they've been denied planning permission. It's going to benefit their shareholders, but blighting property values, schools, and the environment. And the locals who will be affected will receive not a single penny in compensation. In contrast, the shareholders stand to make millions. Now, the damage that the quarry is going to do to the village is not denied by anybody. The villagers consider it will be immense. Cemex says it will be inconvenient. Let's consider them. There'll be community harm. Every single home and 3 schools lie within 500 metres of the site. The residents face decades of dust, noise, and falling house prices. There'll be the economic damage, which is at least the 200 million local marine economy based on boat builders and boat servicing will move elsewhere. We're going to see a planning system that is going to be able to celebrate failure. It doesn't work. It hasn't focused on protecting the community. Rather, the local planning process, which is underfunded and risk averse, was focused on avoiding lawsuits that might have cost Hampshire County Council money. Initially, Hampshire rejected the quarry, but then reversed its stance without any public notice on the basis it's going to cost them too much to fight. The appeal process was completely flawed. Cemex exploited loopholes and used narrow appeal criteria which could only consider flooding risk, the damage to the highways and air quality as issues at the appeal. The inspector then rejected all the local evidence that was given as not compelling or unproven. Now, the key thing here is, how are Cemex going to make money from the quarry? Now, the value of the quarry is not what you dig out of it, but what you then stuff back into it. And we suspect that the economics are really simple. At the moment, Cemex are promising that the quarry will be filled with inert waste. Now, that usually means building rubble, but today most building rubble, or an increasing part of it, at least 40%, is now recycled. And the reason for that is people want to build green houses, which means using sustainable supplies, in other words, recycled building rubble. That means that the cost of building rubble is going up. It used to be you could fill a quarry with building rubble and get paid money to do so. Today, you will have to pay for the rubble in the open market because there is a value to it as recycled material. Now, we reckon that that will cost at least £10 to £20 a tonne, which is about the same price that they'll get for their gravel. So there's absolutely no profit in the quarry. If, however, Cemex wins a permission to put other waste, they could end up making £175 a tonne if they put in low-grade landfill, household waste and things like that. And we suspect that will be their eventual goal. They may even try and build an incinerator on the site. After all, Cemex is one of the leading waste management companies on the planet, and it's their fastest growing area. The Hamble decision exemplifies corporate greed triumphing over social justice. It exposes just how badly Britain's planning system is broken, biased towards big business and indifferent to local communities. As a result, I'm not the only person in the village who's absolutely fuming about how this has gone, and we will be looking at ways to fight this decision. Anyway, thanks for your attention on this. You can read the full Morning Porridge every day on www.morningporridge.com, and if you sign up to the site, you'll get a daily email every morning, followed by the podcast, which covers the whole thing, and then these somewhat shorter vlogs that look at the thing in less detail. Anyway, thank you all very much, and I hope you subscribe for the morning porridge.